Yeah, I believe we're live. If you didn't notice, the thumbnail that I uploaded today was actually not the right thumbnail. It's from a different episode. But thank you for joining us. What I want to go over today is just a little bit of talk about trading ranges and the necessity for patience during that process. I think one of the things that we often make mistakes in, especially with this type of trading, is getting ahead of ourselves within the market cycle. Being patient for that changeover is important because then we can make those decisions when the time is right. So we're getting near the portion of a trading range where we might break out again. So we talked about the potential of going up or down. It's usually a 50-50 kind of choice, but you want to be as well timed for that entry and exit as possible. So I started building my entry again today when we closed above the POC line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over that today. And I'm going to start by doing that. If you can, give us this thumbs up. Let us know that everything is working properly. I'm always, I always get to figure out whether this stream is actually working smoothly. So let's try to figure that out. So we're going to dive in and take a look at the charts. Okay, so right now we have Bitcoin open on the 15-minute. It's a little bit of a short time frame, but we're going to start here today because I want to talk about the trading range. Okay, so I'm drawing my green line here. There you go, to top of the trading range, bottom of the trading range. Seems simple enough, right? So far, so good. This is easy. What's next, you ask, Tio? This pink line here is part of our VPVR, which is our volume profile. And this shows the area where the most buying and selling has taken place within this trading range. So around $22,760 is where most of the buying has been taking place or selling. And when we broke above it again late last night, we started to close above, we've been seeing more bullish momentum. Now we're near the top of the trading range. This is usually where I like to kind of start and finalize my plays for the next move up because it's the least risky, right? Yesterday when it was down here, when we were looking at the potential for a breakdown, this moment here, and a potential close below the trading range or a close above the trading range. These are hugely important. So what we try to do is be patient for that moment, because that way we're not entering or exiting a trade kind of in haste. We know what direction it's going. And now that we've seen this second and this kind of backup phase right at the bottom of this trading range, this is the areas where I've started to build entries because this is the area where it's the safest to do so. Now, the first and the best time was actually when we were around $11,000. And this is for exotics only. This has nothing to do with buying spot. If you're buying spot, like, you shouldn't be selling up here to try to rebuy back lower. And if you're waiting to buy Bitcoin, don't. It's one of the worst things you can do in an investment is wait for like a better price, especially if you're new and you have no idea what's going on in the market. You're like, oh, it's going to come lower. Yeah, I'll just wait, and it gets more expensive. Like, oh, it's going to get lower, and it gets more expensive. And then you wait, and then all of a sudden it's 50 grand. You buy there and then drops back to 20 or something ridiculous. It's usually how it happens. Markets are great at taking money from you. So the reason why we use this trading range style is because it allows us to be patient and not overrush our entry. So there's a lot of potential in these markets to do well. So if you're new to the market, number one, first off, figuring out where you are in trading ranges like this can be super valuable. So if we scroll out a little further here on the 15, oh no, this is the 1 hour I've got open. Okay, so here's the 1 hour on Bitcoin as well. And I'm going to clean this up here. Again, you can see very similarly, new trading range taking place. Obviously just a little bit bigger in time frame. So here we can see the hour instead of the 15-minute. And what does that offer us in difference of understanding? There's a bit more clarity on the volume for one thing. And the POC line, again, is right at the very bottom of our trading range. So this is important. What I would like to see is actually a switch for the trading range and the POC line to move here. So POC stands for point of control. And again, the POC line on our VPVR here is buying and selling volume has taken place within this particular visible range of trading. Right, so if I go out even further, you can see that VPVR will change. So here, this should actually be the 4 hour. If we scroll out to the 4 hour, you can see that the VPVR will actually be significantly lower. It'll be on the last trading range that we were in. So again, we'll clean this up here. We'll take a bit of a broader stroke. Yeah. See, now the VPVR is actually at the top part of the last trading range here. effectively, right? So the most buying and selling that took place in this 4-hour trading, in this 4-hour visible range, was down here at $19,000. When we scroll into both the 1 hour and the 15-minute, you can see the POC is down here at 22,000. Now, if we go to the daily, and again, what I want to, oh, why is this not set on the daily? Yeah, there we go. So if we go out onto the daily, we'll get rid of the eagle's nest and our momentum indicators there. We can see that the POC line is actually significantly lower, down near $9,000. That's where the majority of buying and selling took place over the previous, basically, year of data. Now, one of the things that we've always been looking for is the backup phase, right? I really think that we're going to see a bigger return somewhere lower. Now, when we were at 20,000, it was likely we could come back down to 13. Now that we're going to go to maybe 26 or 28,000, it's likely that we come back down to 18,000. Now, again, if you're buying spot, I wouldn't worry about this too much. It's not a big deal for you to be just consistently accumulating day over day. And I think for all kind of new investors, it's one of the best things you can do is just be patient and keep making that sentiment analysis, practicing studying these trading ranges, and just buy frequently. And we make mistakes, especially as new or beginner investors, is effectively go into a trade unknowingly, right? So you could have entered Bitcoin at $13,000 back here at July, think when all the YouTubers are like, yeah, we're going to $100,000. Well, I agree. We probably are going to $100,000, but have you waited till this moment? It's a much better time to be in the market. So we do this by studying trading ranges and using this analysis to our advantage, even though the patience of the long term is really what pays off. So if you're buying spot, this entire range from March even to here is technically a good place to buy. As you can see, they just bought another $600 million in Bitcoin at like $22,000, effectively making their entry price $15,000 here. That's like their aggregate price for all the Bitcoin that they own. Now, if you keep buying day over day, month over month, year over year, what you end up with is an aggregate price. A lot of people are like, oh, I got $5,000. When should I spend it? That's going up. It's going up. Just buy in smaller amounts and then don't think so much. One of the big problems is people think too much and then they never enter. They never enter the markets because they're like, oh, it's too high, it's too low, I don't know where I am. If you don't know where you are, just make small entries so that way you can get used to the process of investing. It's an extremely important part of this market cycle is to really kind of try to figure out basically where you are in this process. I don't know why I can't find my live streams on YouTube right now. So strange. Okay, there we go. We'll open that up. Okay, yeah. So right now, effectively, we can see that on the lower time frames, it looks like we're going to see a breakup. We're seeing this backup phase right here. So I'm looking probably for the next 12 hours around this 23.4 range. As soon as we start to close above it, kaboom, 26, maybe 28,000 on the next leg up. Going to be a fun one. The next important part here that I want to go over, and some of you guys have been asking, is about Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is a fantastic I'm really excited about what they provide. I think Ethereum's amazing. But the general people that are investing, like the bigger funds that are investing in Bitcoin right now, are investing in Bitcoin because it has a much longer history and track record of success. So right now, we're going to open up Ethereum. I should have had it open already here. And we're going to go to Ethereum Perpetuals because it represents a kind of sweeping swap. We're going to go to the 4 hour, and we're going to take a look at this larger time frame that we are watching. So we had broken up and above the previous trading range. For those of you that have been following along with us, we were looking at this horizontal trading range, not too dissimilar, again, to the rest of our process. We started to close above and make our backup phase. And what's nice about Ethereum here is you actually see a rising gradient bottom for the potential in the breakout here. So what we could suspect to see is another big jump above 680, 690, and then further continuation of price. Now, again, patience here is ultimately the indicator of success. Almost in anything that you do in life, patience will be an indicator of how successful you are. Well, I guess that and resilience, like relentlessness. How much further will you keep going when most people stop? I think is an important part of learning anything. Because a lot of the times, most people stop right before they're successful. right? So Ethereum has jumped right back up. It's showing strength, and it's following Bitcoin's lead here because this entire market is functioning together. The DeFi sector, what Ethereum provides in smart contracts, that now you can earn yield on Bitcoin. You can do all these extra cool things with Bitcoin because of Ethereum, and we don't risk the security or the fundamental layer of Bitcoin. Ethereum brings a massive amount to the market that I don't think average investors have really started to recognize, right? So we see Michael Saylor in 2012, oh, Bitcoin's a scam. 2020, I want Bitcoin all the time. I've changed my mind. Well, what happened? Nothing changed in the technology. The big difference here is who understands the technology. I'm kind of a layman. If at best I understand the technology just a little bit, I can see what they can do together and why they're harmonious together. I actually think Ethereum makes Bitcoin significantly more valuable because now we've got our fundamental transfer layer of point A to point B. That security won't change. We're not risking it by adding smart contracts to the Bitcoin code. Just leave it the way it is. It works. Let's build something else around that and use it for corporate bonds, loans, the stock market, like all this extra stuff that exists outside the world of Bitcoin. And that's very, very important. I think more so than a lot of people have recognized. So I believe Ethereum is extremely undervalued. I think we're going to thousands of dollars in Ethereum over the long term. Not financial advice. But what they do together is, I think, they're like the sweetheart kind of couple, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum provide a lot to the financial sector that I don't think a lot of people have recognized yet. So it's really important. Okay, we're going to leave today's episode a little bit shorter than we do normally because it's a little late. I've been on the road all day. I just got back from the beach. I want to take a point and to look at some of your guys' questions. Someone says the bouncing music app is causing... I hate iTunes. I wish you could uninstall it from Macs, but they seriously suck. Like every time I have to force quit iTunes. Like it's just super annoying. It's like, iTunes, just stay out of my way. I didn't open you. Get out of there. Okay. So being patient in the markets is extremely important. Let's go take a look at Bitcoin again one more time. We're near the top of the trading range. We're looking like we're about to form a small backup before we break out here again, upwards of $25,000 to $26,000. Amazing. On the larger time frames, as we start to roll out, we see that we're extremely high up, and we've had no real recourse, right? Was this the backup phase? Maybe. That could have been the case. Maybe it is. Maybe that was the backup phase. I don't know. I suspect it's going to be a little bigger, but time will tell. My investment portfolio, my average entry price for Bitcoin is probably around $6,000 to $7,000. I feel great. Everything's fine so far. For my exotic plays, you're looking for very, very precise entries and exits to make those things work to play to your advantage. Like the other night, while we were on our live stream with Bitcoin, I think I made almost $3,000 off that trade. I was maybe only in the trade for 2 or 3 hours after I closed the live stream. Part of it got stopped out in profit of around $1,000. I took the other $2,000 in profit while I was in the private bear den. So when you're playing with exotics, you have to be very specific about timing. You don't have a lot of room to play. If we see a big LPS, again, which is characteristically how this always goes, again, I'm happy to be proven wrong. If we just go straight up, that's amazing. Awesome. I'm not upset about that. And this is why I suggest if you're new to the markets and you're buying spot, don't try to pick a perfect price. Just buy every week. It's the best way to go. Don't even think about dollar cost averaging, whatever that means. Just buy all the time in anything that's interesting to you. Tesla, Zoom, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Put small amounts of money away in those things all the time. And ultimately, over the course of a decade, you will be a successful investor, no matter what it is that you're invested in, because you will consistently follow what interests you. I mean, investments in Zoom to Bitcoin year over year, for this year at least, you would be 2 times higher in Zoom than you would have been in Bitcoin. So let's take a look and do our final kind of market analysis by looking at the rest of the sector. So what's nice here is we saw a big drop in the VIX today, another 3% down, which is good. People are calming down again. I was a little worried with that 30% spike up we saw the other day. And we had a big drop down there, 20% up and then another 20% down. So we can see that there's a lot of momentum in the markets here in the volatility range. Once we get past February, March, and people start to come out of lockdown, which is the stupidest thing ever. There's no need for lockdowns. Lockdowns were only good in maybe February when we were trying to stop shit and give our healthcare professionals more time to figure out what the hell was going on. This late in the game, it does nothing. You just look like a totalitarian government. You. Anyways, that's what I have to say about governments and lockdowns. Next thing, this volatility index, as that starts to come out again, will likely taper out and we'll see a much stronger bull market. So if we look at the DXY, we saw a little bit of strength, but not much, maybe only a percent over the course of a few days. We see a lot of green. Wi-Fi is up at 24,000. Aave is still at $84. So the DeFi sector is doing well. But what I want to do right now is take a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500 was following what looks like to be a potential rising gradient bottom trading range. So we charted this a few weeks ago. I'm still looking for a recourse here. They may actually line up. You may see Bitcoin and the S&P 500 both do something over the next few months here in terms of a drop and a retest of their trading ranges. We'll keep an eye on that. But more importantly, we see that there's a lot of bullish indicators even in the S&P 500. And this is what I wanted to go over is that, look guys, if you look at Zoom, and you go from January 2020 and you measure to the top, Zoom did 780%. That's twice as much as Bitcoin. So if you follow exponential technology and you invest in it because you're interested, you'll do really well. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just exciting because I think it attracts the libertarian. A lot of the times it's the first investment a libertarian would make because like, oh, I don't want to invest in a regular stock market. It's going to crash because of the dollar and blah. It's just all fake manipulation. Well, I don't sound a little prejudiced to me, but personally, Zoom did twice as good as Bitcoin year to year, right? So from January to here, actually maybe Bitcoin's a little lower if you were to measure it from January. You'd want to measure from March ultimately. Let's go from March. Yeah, March. So from March, they're about the same actually. From March, both Zoom and Bitcoin have paced each other. That's amazing. Look at Tesla. Tesla's another one of these exponential technologies. Tesla's not a car company. They are a tech company. So let's get that straight. And here we go. April, you have 880%. Tesla has outperformed Bitcoin by twice as much. That's a massive amount of gains. So guys, if you're new to investing, invest what you're interested in. Tesla was a great idea. I remember when we were back here, a friend of mine, we were in Bali. Tesla was at $50, and this is right when they broke the window. I was so excited about that moment. I'm like, oh my God, Elon Musk is a genius. He just broke the unbreakable window on live television. This guy is a fucking meme master. And what did they do? Price spiked up massively, up to $200 within about a week or two after that. 290% price increase. During the pandemic, we dropped back down. We test the supply one more time, and then another 880% price increase for Tesla over the same period as Bitcoin. And the point I want to make here is that exponential technology grows extremely fast. And that's what you want to be interested in, exponential technology. Bitcoin is one of those. Ethereum is also one of those. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. I'm sorry I didn't get to many of your questions and comments in the last few videos. We were reporting a guy who's trying to pretend to be Arcane Bear on like multiple accounts. We reported all of them, so thank you to the Bear family to helping report them and get rid of that guy. No mas. I also want to go over really quickly some of your guys' thoughts, but I'm probably going to go into that tomorrow because tonight was a little slow, and if you can hear in the background, I'm going to be eating dinner soon. This is like things got kind of rushed. I didn't make it back from the beach perfectly in time. I also have to change the thumbnail. Thank you guys all for supporting the Arcane Bear. Thank you to the new private members and the private members who have been so supportive of one another. You know, I do these videos every day to help both the private members and the people that are just learning, because ultimately I think financial education is extremely important. And if we focus on just one thing, which is knowing where you are in the market and focusing on exponential technologies, I think you will all do very well over the course of the next decade. So I want to thank you all again for the support. It's been one heck of a ride over the last few years. I went to the city. I had to do some paperwork. Look, I got my hair cut finally. It took so long to get my hair cut in the jungle. God, it was crazy. I look like look at that. It's like a mohawk now. Anyways, thank you guys. Give us a thumbs up. Check out the podcast we did with Bradley Mills of Roll as well. I'm really excited about social money and what content creators do. They're one of the biggest forms of engagement in the ecosystem, and they're very, very undervalued in terms of what they do. Now, that's a topic for the podcast, so go check out the podcast. We posted that earlier today. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, share, follow the descriptions down below, affiliate links and stuff like that. You guys know the drill. I appreciate it. Here's the intro and outro, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. I'll do a longer episode tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure I got on this one. I appreciate you guys' support, and